and welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Schultz, and this is from the Podium pregame edition. It is game day. The Seahawks with their final regular season game against those dirty Los Angeles Rams, as the Seahawks need a win with their hopes to remain alive going into the evening with that Lions game against the Packers. So we got to start things off right with the win over the Rams. And before we get to the game, let's start off with our Seahawks leaders speaking about the tragic cardiac arrest experienced by Damar Hamlin on Monday night, starting with wide receiver DK Metcalf.
Well, I really haven't talked to my teammates about the whole situation. Everybody's seen what happened. My heart just goes out to, his family and friends and teammates that watched that and they had to go deal with that firsthand. But, we know what we signed up for every time we go out there and put on our helmet or step on the field. So, it's just a risk that we all live with. Like, I've broken my neck already, so I'm not scared of anything.
Safety Quandre Diggs was asked if the injury changed his perspective on playing football.
I wouldn't say that, but it does, make you think about your family members a little bit more. You stepping on that field, you start thinking, heck, if being honest, you see that on Sunday, you like, this could be, that could have been the last time I talked to my mom right before the game. And the stress that kind of puts on them, I think that's the way I look at it. It will really change my approach because, the risk you take when you play this game, but you never expect something like that. And, I got a wake-up call last year. So for me, I never take it for granted, and my injury wasn't, near as bad as his. And, that woke me up and made me understand. And I called my mom before every home game and talked to her, just to have that peace of mind. So hug my daughter super close, hug my fiance before I leave, just in case, when I left the house last year with 2 legs and came back with 1, and just kind of changes things. So when you see stuff like that, it definitely makes you think about it differently. And, we just want to continue to pray for him and, hopefully he has a full recovery and he gets a clean slate of health because, that's what it's all about. It's not about him getting back on the field or things like that. It's, clean slate of health and his family. Those are the most important people. And, of course, his teammates, because I know those guys are definitely still kind of in shock. And that kind of just leaves you, kind of traumatized a little bit. So, prayers up for everybody. And, we just hoping he makes a speedy recovery.
Quandre also talked about the importance of players being willing to be vulnerable and candidly discuss the mental and physical dangers of the game.
In our mind, we have a warrior mentality where, we invincible, we go out there, we can do all these things. And, sometimes it's a bravado thing and fans see that and it's like, well, that's just what they do. That's what they do. That's who they are. But, it's definitely tough, when you see something like that. And just speaking again from my aspect is something where, you think you're invincible. You run in, you trying to hit people hard as you can. And, you just trying to set a tone and, and like I said, in my situation, broken leg, dislocated ankle. And you start to realize like, I'm not invincible. Things can happen to me just like they can happen to everybody else. But, sometimes I feel like some fans don't see that. I think they just see us as these guys that just go out and compete and we just go play football. We don't have a family outside of, we don't have feelings. And to see guys be emotional on Monday night, I think that's something that the world needs to see, that we do have emotions. And sometimes I have to remind myself sometimes that, I do have emotions and, I do care about certain things. And I think that's just the realistic thing that's going on now. It's like guys are being more vulnerable and, about mental health and things like that. And, it's always going to be the old school crowd of, well, we didn't do that back when we played. Like, we were just tough. But, it's a new day and age, and everybody has problems. Just because you play in the NFL, that don't mean you don't have problems in the world. And, I have problems just like the rest of you guys. And I'm normal just like the rest of you guys. And that's why I treat you guys with respect. And I always try to answer the tough questions because I know you guys have a job just like I do. And for me, just want to continue to show that. I want people to know that we're more than athletes and, we can do more than just intercept the ball and make tackles, that, I have a beautiful 3-year-old that I want to go home to every freaking day. So for me, it's always been bigger than ball, and I've always used that. So I think, the world is seeing it more, and hopefully people can understand and realize that.
The Seahawks brought in team doctor Jonathan Dresner to speak to the players and the media this week. Dresner said that he and the medical staff spoke about the procedures in place should a similar emergency take place during a Seahawks game.
We met this morning with the team, and Coach Carroll does a great job bringing the team together. I'm not sure there's a roadmap on how to do that in the wake of such an event, but I think it was a very powerful meeting with the players, and I had an opportunity to talk to the players about what we do as a Seahawks medical staff to prepare with our athletic trainers, with our paramedics, with our area physicians on the sideline, how we rehearse and how the same way they run plays, we are training for the what if, just in case there is an emergency.
On Wednesday, Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll spoke candidly about the dangers of the game and how the NFL ought to increase pension availability for its players and provide help to players who become disabled as a result of football.
To me, this game, the NFL, professional football, has always been about the players, and it's always because they're the ones that without them there's no game, and they're the ones that play it for all of the reasons they do, but also with the risks that are involved and with the long-term concerns that they don't know about when they're young and they think that they're going to be healthy and forever. The conscience to understand in a game like this how responsible we should be to the players over not just while they're playing and creating as safe an environment as possible, but the extended support that we go with them, because without them it doesn't exist. And I know that there's a lot of stories about guys after they're finished playing. There's concerns and issues and getting their life back in order and getting back on a good track and all that. There's so much there that and the league does a tremendous amount of things in support of. But personally, I feel like we've never respected them as much as they deserve. I've always felt like we owe them everything. We owe them everything for the rest of their life, because those guys are limping around and they're getting out of bed in the morning and they can barely move and stuff like that because of the game that they chose to play. They chose to play it. I just like taking the responsibility for following our guys along and doing whatever we can. And so I would always just challenge there's more to be done. I know the league has a big conscience about this. I just would like to take care of our guys forever and owe them for the right reasons for all that they've put forth and they've risked, and because it isn't just over. They don't walk away from this game and it's done. It's not like that. There's a lot going on after that, and these guys deserve a lot of love and care.
Perhaps the most horrifying injury to happen to a Seahawks player during the Carroll era was Ricardo Lockett's spinal injury. Carroll was asked how the team was able to move on to play the next week after Lockett got hurt.
I do remember the Dennis Smith. We were playing up in Buffalo, and I know that Leon Hess was in the locker room with us, the owner, and walking around the locker room. It was a total blizzard we were going to play in, and he was walking around telling the guys, you don't have to play if you don't feel right about it. I always remember that, and as the competitor side of it, we kind of like didn't want to hear that because we were trying to get ready to go, and coaches and players and all that. But that just shows you that the spectrum that you can be on. Anyway, we're dealing with it, and we'll figure it out. I don't know how to give you a good answer there.
Pete was pleased by the positive signs in Hamlin's recovery that had come out by the time of his press conference on Friday afternoon.
Everybody was carrying the burden of it, and so you can see them feel relieved that, okay, it wasn't as dire as it seemed, and that they had a chance to bounce. So he had a chance to bounce back and start that process. I'm sure it's going to be a long process and all of that. But I can't imagine think of all of the goodwill and the love that he spread by making this return for all the people that were concerned and all. He's had an enormous impact and will continue to, I'm sure. He's inspiring people everywhere.
Changing gears and getting to today's game against the Rams, DK Metcalf spoke about Bobby Wagner's return to Seattle.
We're just trying to win. We're not trying to ruin anybody's homecoming, but I guess if we do win, it's going to be ruined. So it's going to be ruined regardless. That's all I'm trying to say, my bad.
Carroll has been impressed, but not surprised by Wagner's performance this year.
120-some tackles again. Here he goes again. I'm not sure the exact number, a couple picks. He's got 6 sacks. I don't remember him ever getting that many sacks. He has rushed a lot in their system. Where it's been a challenge, going there and, following last year and all that stuff, I think he's probably been a real steady voice for them and factor for them. I can't imagine him being anything but that.
On the offensive side of the ball, the Seahawks will be tasked with stopping quarterback Baker Mayfield.
We're really seeing, Sean's offense. He's done a great job. I mean, I'm talking about the coaches have done a great job to make this transition and go back to the Raider game, which is nobody could imagine how that could have happened. But they pulled off a historic miracle game. But they did it by going right back to the basics. They have a great system, and it's a great coaching staff, and they've proven that. And so they have a wealth of things, and they've adapted to the different quarterbacks that have played, even starting with Stafford. And so. I recognize what they're doing. We've seen it before and seen how they do their stuff, and have a lot of respect for it.
Cam Akers has also looked good in recent weeks, according to Clint Hurt.
I think he's always been a hard runner. Really great contact balance, unbelievable leg drive, does a good job of lowering his pad level when contact is coming. Very talented runner is what I would say about him. If he seems different now, I think obviously we're coming off, I think he had an Achilles last year, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes with guys, it takes time to come off of injuries. Maybe if people feel that was it. I'm not suggesting that because I think the kid is a heck of a player. So, but it could be something to it. He could be feeling better.
Last time out against the Rams, the Seahawks offense was able to get going in the passing game thanks to the frequent involvement of both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett per Gino.
I think we did a great job of getting those guys started early. I think we did a great job in that game of making sure that, me personally, that I was getting the ball out in rhythm and getting it out on time. And then obviously, DK and Tyler did a phenomenal job. They just, had excellent games. And they've done that all year. Obviously, I know DK gets excited for those big matchups and, Ramsey and that defense and, playing against Bobby again. Those are ones we're thrilled to play. So, as long as we have those two guys with Tyler and DK, we got, a shot at doing some excellent things. And so looking forward to, seeing what they do on Sunday.
Should the Seahawks get that offense going again and beat the Rams, they're going to be waiting on the outcome of the Lions-Packers game to see if they'll make the playoffs. Quandre Diggs, a former Lion, was asked about having to count on his former team to beat Green Bay so that he could secure a postseason berth.
I mean, God works in mysterious ways, don't he? And for me, it's just like you hit up your old friends out there like, hey, I wouldn't mind taking y'all on vacation if y'all go ahead and get a dub. I'll pay for y'all vacation. So you just try to handle your business first of all, and we're gonna have a hard test just like they're gonna have a hard test. And for us, we need to handle our business and just kind of let it all play out. But I would be lying if I didn't. If I told you guys I didn't hit up some of my friends over there already and told them y'all handle business and get it done. And I know what A-Rod's thinking. I know he's living for this moment of going in and go beat the Lions so he can talk trash. But, hopefully my guys can pull through and, go over there and get a dub and we handle our business and everything works out the right way.
Diggs, however, was disappointed by the NFL's scheduling decision.
I would think with the implications, you would try to match up both games at the same time and, try to have guys, play and, they play at the same time. So we don't really know as much what's going on. You might get an update here and there, but I was surprised by that. I really was. I was surprised that they did that, but it's the NFL. You know what it is. It's all about money. So show them the money. They're going to make it happen.
We'll close things out by hearing from pass rusher Darrell Taylor, who is clearly fired up to play in the playoffs.
Man, I want to play in a playoff game so bad, and I want it for our team so bad because I feel like we deserve it. Just about, how our season went, ups and downs, highs and lows, man, I feel like we deserve it. And I feel like if it go and we get in, then the clean slate, man, let's get to work. So I'm excited. I hope we get our opportunity. I think we can be a dangerous team because once we put it all together, the games that we have put it all together where we just dominated teams on defense and then our offense was just scoring, putting the numbers in, putting the touchdowns in the end zone, stuff like that. And special teams hitting on all three cylinders, can't nobody stop us. I don't care who it is.
Looking at the injury report for the Seahawks, Travis Homer listed as doubtful. He was actually moved to injured reserve, so he's going to be out for this game. 5 Seahawks are questionable. 2 guards, Phil Haynes and Damian Lewis, both with ankle injuries. Wide receiver Tyler Lockett with a shin injury. Safety Ryan Neal with a knee injury. And defensive end Quentin Jefferson, who's been working through an illness. For the Los Angeles Rams, 4 players listed as out. Center Brian Allen, defensive tackle Aaron Donald, defensive back Nick Scott, and wide receiver Ben Skronik. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to Wilson Kahn for helping to produce this episode. Follow him out on Twitter at Wilson_Kahn, C-O-N-N. And if you got a little bit of time, go back and listen in to what the guys had to say for their bets going into this game against the Rams. That's on PNW Prop Stars. Stay tuned. After the game, we'll be doing a post-game recap, and we will plan to roll right into a watch party with the Lions and the Packers. Hopefully we have a rooting interest in that game, or else it's going to be a very short watch party. But we're counting on it, counting on that win over the Los Angeles Rams. And so until next time, go Hawks.